underscoring the deep respect and friendship between the two nations.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, during this visit, Prime Minister Modi will also address Ethiopia's parliament, marking a significant step in strengthening democratic dialogue and cooperation. Most importantly, India and Ethiopia have elevated their relationship to a strategic partnership, opening new avenues for collaboration in trade, technology, culture, and global affairs.
Indeed, and stay with us as we revisit the key programs of the Prime Minister in Addis Ababa and also put into context this visit, its symbolism, substance, and also analyze what this new chapter means for the future of India-Ethiopia ties and India-Africa ties.
That's right. India and Ethiopia held delegation-level talks in Addis Ababa, where leaders have decided to elevate their partnership to a strategic level. In the opening statement, Prime Minister Modi said that a clear roadmap is getting ready to reach new heights in the bilateral ties.
हम भारत इथियोपिया संबंधों को स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप पर उस स्तर पर ले जा रहे हैं। ये कदम हमारे संबंधों को नई ऊर्जा, नई गति और नई गहराई प्रदान करेगा। भविष्य की अपार संभावनाओं को साकार करने के लिए एक स्पष्ट रोडमैप तैयार होगा।
Well, the Ethiopian Prime Minister said that India's consistent support to Africa's priorities reflects a time-tested partnership. He also noted that clear focus is to shape a modern partnership grounded in sovereignty, self-reliance and cooperation.
We have decided to elevate our relationship from historic relationship to strategic relationship between Ethiopia and India. Our two countries share over thousands of years of connection through trade, diplomacy, education, culture, and even in our food.
And Prime Minister Modi lauded strong cultural connect between the two nations. PM also thanked Ethiopia for their support to India in its fight against terrorism.
अनेक भाषाओं और समृद्ध परंपराओं से संपन्न हमारे दोनों देश विविधता में एकता का प्रतीक है। दोनों देश शांति और मानव कल्याण के प्रति प्रतिबद्ध लोकतांत्रिक शक्तियां हैं। हम ग्लोबल साउथ के सहयात्री भी हैं और साझेदार भी हैं। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मंचों पर भी हम कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर खड़े रहे हैं।
And we're going across once again to Addis Ababa, where we are seeing Prime Minister
addressing the gathering after receiving the civilian honor.
और आते ही मुझे यहाँ के लोगों से एक अद्भुत अपनापन और आत्मीयता मिली है। प्रधानमंत्री जी स्वयं मुझे एयरपोर्ट पर लेने आए, फ्रेंडशिप पार्क और साइंस म्यूजियम लेकर गए। आज शाम यहां की लीडरशिप से मेरी महत्वपूर्ण विषयों पर चर्चा हुई है। ये सब अपने आप में एक अविस्मरणीय अनुभव है। फ्रेंड्स, अभी अभी मुझे ग्रेट ऑनर निशान ऑफ इथियोपिया के रूप में इस देश का सर्वोच्च सम्मान प्रदान किया गया है। विश्व की अति प्राचीन और समृद्ध सभ्यता द्वारा सम्मानित किया जाना मेरे लिए बहुत गौरव की बात है। मैं सभी भारतवासियों की ओर से इस सम्मान को पूरी विनम्रता और कृतज्ञता से ग्रहण करता हूं। यह सम्मान उन अनगिनत भारतीयों का है जिन्होंने हमारी साझेदारी को आकार दिया। 1896 के संघर्ष में सहयोग देने वाले गुजराती व्यापारी हो, इथोपियन मुक्ति के लिए लड़ने वाले भारतीय सैनिक हो, या शिक्षा और निवेश के माध्यम से भविष्य संवारने वाले भारतीय शिक्षक और उद्योगपति, और यह सम्मान उतना ही इथोपिया के हर उस नागरिक का भी है जिसने भारत पर विश्वास रखा और इस संबंध को हृदय से समृद्ध किया। फ्रेंड्स, आज इस अवसर पर मैं अपने मित्र प्रधानमंत्री अभी अहमद अली का भी हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। एक्सेलेंसी, पिछले महीने जब हम साउथ अफ्रीका में G20 समिट के दौरान मिले थे तो आपने बहुत स्नेह और अधिकार से मुझसे इथोपिया की यात्रा करने का आग्रह किया था। मैं अपने मित्र, अपने भाई का ये स्नेह निमंत्रण भला कैसे टाल सकता था। इसलिए पहला मौका मिलते ही मैंने इथोपिया आने का निश्चय कर लिया। फ्रेंड्स, ये विजिट अगर नॉर्मल डिप्लोमेटिक तौर तरीके से होती तो शायद बहुत समय लग जाता, लेकिन आप लोगों का यही प्यार और अपनापन मुझे सिर्फ 24 ही दिन में यहां खींच के ले आया। फ्रेंड्स, आज जब पूरे विश्व की नजर ग्लोबल साउथ पर है, ऐसे में इथोपिया की स्वाभिमान, स्वतंत्रता और आत्मगौरव की चिरकालीन परंपरा हम सभी के लिए सशक्त प्रेरणा है। ये सौभाग्य की बात है कि इस महत्वपूर्ण कालखंड में इथोपिया की बागडोर डॉक्टर अबी के कुशल हाथों में है। अपने मेडेमर की सोच और विकास के संकल्प के साथ वे जिस तरह से इथोपिया को प्रगति पथ पर आगे ले जा रहे हैं, वह पूरे विश्व के लिए एक उज्जवल उदाहरण है। पर्यावरण संरक्षण हो, इंक्लूसिव डेवलपमेंट हो, या फिर विविधता भरे समाज में एकता बढ़ाना, उनके प्रयास, प्रयत्नों और प्रतिबद्धता की मैं हृदय से सराहना करता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, भारत में हमारा मानना रहा है कि सा विद्याया विमुक्तये, यानी नॉलेज लिबरेट्स। शिक्षा किसी भी राष्ट्र की आधारशिला है और मुझे गर्व है कि इथोपिया और भारत के संबंधों में सबसे बड़ा योगदान हमारे शिक्षकों का रहा है। इथोपिया की महान संस्कृति ने इन्हें यहां आकर्षित किया और उन्हें यहां के कई पीढ़ियों को तैयार करने का सौभाग्य मिला। आज भी कई इंडियन फैकल्टी मेंबर्स इथोपियन यूनिवर्सिटीज और हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस में अपनी सेवाएं दे रहे हैं। फ्रेंड्स, भविष्य उन्हीं पार्टनरशिप का होता है जो विजन और भरोसे पर आधारित हो। हम इथियोपिया के साथ मिलकर ऐसे सहयोग को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध हैं जो बदलती वैश्विक चुनौतियों का समाधान भी करे और नई संभावनाओं का निर्माण भी करे। एक बार फिर इथियोपिया के सभी सम्मानित लोगों को 140 करोड़ भारतीय नागरिकों की ओर से बहुत सारी शुभकामनाएं। थैंक यू। आम सागनालो।
And those visuals coming in from Addis Ababa, we're playing those visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi being bestowed with Ethiopia's highest honor, the Great Honor Nishan of Ethiopia. The award being shared with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This marks Prime Minister Modi's 28th foreign state honor. Prime Minister said it's a moment of pride to be honored by the country with deep historical connect.
Indeed, and in fact, Prime Minister dedicated this award to all those who strengthened the partnership between the two nations. This award actually acknowledges India's leadership in the global south. It is the second award that Africa has given Prime Minister this year itself. The Prime Minister, when he was in Namibia, also received the highest state award in Namibia earlier in the year.
And those are visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi being bestowed with Ethiopia's highest honor. It's called the highest honor, Nishan of Ethiopia. And those visuals of Prime Minister being honored. It's the 28th international honor for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It's called the highest honor, Nishan of Ethiopia. And Prime Minister also delivered a fairly long address acknowledging the significance of India-Ethiopia ties. He spoke about the manner in which the historical and civilizational linkages, Mark, in particular, between the two nations is something that this award recognizes and celebrates. He had much to speak about the knowledge link between the two countries, and now that the countries are forward-looking with cooperation in emerging technologies and data centers and AI, perhaps that's where Prime Minister was also hinting at.
Indeed, and he had a word of praise also for the leadership of Ethiopia, for the manner in which they are taking the country forward. He also spoke about, the lots of unheralded Indians who have taken this relationship forward, from the traders of old, the historical links, to the teachers, and particularly the teachers. He dwelt at length a little bit about the teachers, about how they have, been able to train many Ethiopians. And really speaking, at the end of the day, when we look at the vision and trust, which is what the Prime Minister said should be in any partnership, that vision and trust seems to be really quite embedded in the India-Ethiopia relationship.
On your screens, you're watching the visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi being bestowed with Ethiopia's highest honor, the Great Honor Nishan of Ethiopia. Marks Prime Minister Modi's 28th foreign state honor. Prime Minister said it's a moment of pride to be honored by a country with such deep historical connect. And in his address, Prime Minister had wonderful words for Dr. Abiy Ahmed.
Yes, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, in fact, who is presenting him the award. And Dr. Abiy Ahmed is also a Nobel laureate. He is a Nobel Prize winner for peace in 2019 for bringing an end to the Ethiopia-Eritrea 20-year war, and has been bringing about economic reforms in his country, which has led to significant growth. And particularly also, since Addis Ababa is the headquarters of the African Union, it has been an avenue for a lot of African leaders to continue to meet and talk about African unity and African strength, because a lot of the conflicts in Africa are largely issues of which are caused by ethnic problems, borders, and issues like that.
India and Ethiopia also collaborate on a number of multilateral forums. In India's leadership of the G20 in the year 2023, African Union, of which Ethiopia is a part of, was included as a permanent member of the G20. Also, recently, as the BRICS grouping expanded, Ethiopia from Africa became a part of the BRICS grouping, and India happens to be it's going to be the president of and hosting the BRICS Summit 2026 edition. It's taking place in India, and in that context, Prime Minister's exchanges with African nations, in particular Ethiopia, becomes greatly significant. On those visuals of Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of Ethiopia, bestowing the highest civilian honor of Ethiopia, of the nation, on Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Indeed, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Ethiopian counterpart held one-on-one talks as well. The leaders held discussions on regional and global issues. This also took place earlier in the day.
Let's talk about the developments through the day. Mark, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Addis Ababa on Tuesday for his maiden state visit to Ethiopia, it's marked a milestone in India-Africa ties. He was warmly received at the Bole International Airport by Ethiopian Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali, Foreign Minister Dr. Gideon Timothewos,
the Cabinet Minister Alem Sehe Paulus, and the Women and Social Affairs Minister Dr. Ergogi Tesfaye. So the arrival also featured vibrant traditional drums, cultural dances which were performed, and of course this was also at the arrival. We can see enthusiastic Ethiopian children also participated, symbolizing the deep friendship between the two nations.
Prime Minister of Ethiopia extended an extraordinary welcome to Prime Minister Narendra Modi upon his arrival at Addis Ababa Airport, setting the tone for a visit marked by unique warmth and mutual respect. In a rare and unique display of personal hospitality, the Ethiopian leader went a step further by driving Prime Minister Modi himself to the hotel. Now, this unscripted moment reflected not only close diplomatic ties, but also deep sense of camaraderie between the two leaders. Thoughtful gestures of the Nobel Peace Prize winning Ethiopian Prime Minister highlighted remarkable respect and admiration for the Indian leader. More than ceremonial, the moment symbolized a growing bond between India and Ethiopia.
Indeed, and Prime Minister also acknowledged that the deep-rooted shared values, mutual trust, and a forward-looking partnership. And following his arrival in Addis Ababa, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a brief courtesy interaction with the Ethiopian Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali at the Bole International Airport. So it was through the day in all these events we could see Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed was personally guiding Prime Minister and talking to him one-on-one, really going out of their way to make this visit special. At Addis Ababa Airport, Prime Minister Modi had taken part in a traditional coffee ceremony as well with the Ethiopian Prime Minister, which we are looking at now.
And during the interaction, the leaders also enjoyed, you can see the visuals of the famous Ethiopian coffee. Ceremony beautifully highlights Ethiopia's rich heritage around the beverage as well, adds to Prime Minister's special welcome in Addis Ababa.
Well, India too is known for its coffee, so I guess both countries have common heritage as far as coffee is concerned. We are joined by Ambassador C. Rajashekar, a former senior diplomat who is joining us on video link, and Professor Ramakant Dwivedi, foreign affairs expert, also joining us on video link.
Ambassador Rajashekar, if you can come to you first, and your comments on the latest development that we just witnessed, Prime Minister being honored bestowed with the highest civilian honor of Ethiopia, highest honor, Nishan of Ethiopia. How do you see this moment for the leader, for Prime Minister, and for India?
Namaskar. Thank you very much for this opportunity. In fact, Honorable Prime Minister is undertaking a historic visit to Ethiopia. When we try to bring two countries together, we, try various facets of cooperation and sign various agreements. And the ultimate purpose is to develop.
Ambassador Rajshekhar, I'll just interrupt for a moment. We once again will listen in to the speech that Prime Minister Modi delivered after.
Minister Narendra Modi, Your Excellency Mahmouda Al Yusuf, Chairperson of African Union, my dear sister, Madam Salma, Deputy Chairperson of African Union, my dear brother, Gatet, UN ECA Head, distinguished delegation from India, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is a great honor to welcome you to Addis Ababa, a city that honors our heritage and looks to the future. Here, history is never distant. It reminds us that progress is not inherited. It is built through purpose, persistence, and partnership. Your visit, Mr. Prime Minister, is beyond a diplomatic occasion. It is a meeting of two nations that understand how careful planning and bold ideas can fuel transformation. Mr. Prime Minister, Ethiopia and India stand at the threshold of great opportunities. Our history is long, our bonds are deep, but the most important chapter of our journey lies ahead. Like India, we believe in building our strengths at home. Like India, we believe in engaging the world while safeguarding our independence. Mr. Prime Minister, your vision of self-reliant India, anchored in practical governance and broad strategic partnership, speaks directly to us. It resonates with our philosophy of Madamar, the belief that when we act together, we multiply our strengths. Our nations draw wisdom from ancient civilizations, yet strive to build modern, capable states for the next generation. This shared outlook opens wide opportunities. Frontier, Mr. Prime Minister, factories can create dignified jobs, digital platforms can reach communities across our countries, clean energy can power our industries and transform our farms. Entrepreneurs from Addis Ababa to Bangalore can build global competitive companies, and our young people are ready to innovate, to lead, and to shape the future. Ethiopia and India share more than interests. We share values, a commitment to sovereignty, to human dignity, and development that lifts all people. Our partnership is strategic, long-term, and rooted in mutual respect. When Ethiopia and India advance with shared ambition, we show the world the true potential of the Global South. Progress grounded in dignity, development anchored in sovereignty, and nations shaping their own future with purpose, vision, and lasting impact. Mr. Prime Minister, your presence here strengthens that vision. On behalf of the people and government of Ethiopia, I thank you for your partnership and your friendship. May the relationship between Ethiopia and India inspire a new era of leadership, one defined by humility, courage, and the conviction that nations rise best when they rise together. I thank you.
We were listening to Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed's address just after bestowing the highest civilian honor of Ethiopia on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In his address, Prime Minister Ahmed spoke about the manner in which this visit of Prime Minister Modi is beyond the usual diplomatic protocols. He spoke about a convergence of vision. We'll also listen into those visuals again of Prime Minister Narendra Modi being bestowed with the highest civilian honor of Ethiopia. It's called the High Honor Nishan of Ethiopia. We'll also listen into Prime Minister's address that was delivered.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tena Istillin. आज इथियोपिया की इस महान धरती पर आप सबके बीच होना मेरे लिए सौभाग्य की बात है। मैंने आज दोपहर ही इथियोपिया में कदम रखा है और आते ही मुझे यहां के लोगों से एक अद्भुत अपनापन और आत्मीयता मिली है। प्रधानमंत्री जी स्वयं मुझे एयरपोर्ट पर लेने आए, फ्रेंडशिप पार्क और साइंस म्यूजियम लेकर गए। आज शाम यहां की लीडरशिप से मेरी महत्वपूर्ण विषयों पर चर्चा हुई है। ये सब अपने आप में एक अविस्मरणीय अनुभव है। फ्रेंड्स, अभी अभी मुझे ग्रेट ऑनर निशान ऑफ इथियोपिया के रूप में इस देश का सर्वोच्च सम्मान प्रदान किया गया है। विश्व की अति प्राचीन और समृद्ध सभ्यता द्वारा सम्मानित किया जाना मेरे लिए बहुत गौरव की बात है। मैं सभी भारतवासियों की ओर से इस सम्मान को पूरी विनम्रता और कृतज्ञता से ग्रहण करता हूं। यह सम्मान उन अनगिनत भारतीयों का है जिन्होंने हमारी साझेदारी को आकार दिया। 1896 के संघर्ष में सहयोग देने वाले गुजराती व्यापारी हो, इथियोपियन मुक्ति के लिए लड़ने वाले भारतीय सैनिक हो या शिक्षा और निवेश के माध्यम से भविष्य संवारने वाले भारतीय शिक्षक और उद्योगपति, और यह सम्मान उतना ही इथियोपिया के हर उस नागरिक का भी है जिसने भारत पर विश्वास रखा और इस संबंध को हृदय से समृद्ध किया। फ्रेंड्स, आज इस अवसर पर मैं अपने मित्र प्रधानमंत्री अभी अहमद अली का भी हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। एक्सेलेंसी, पिछले महीने जब हम साउथ अफ्रीका में G20 समिट के दौरान मिले थे तो आपने बहुत स्नेह और अधिकार से मुझसे इथियोपिया की यात्रा करने का आग्रह किया था। मैं अपने मित्र, अपने भाई का ये स्नेह निमंत्रण भला कैसे टाल सकता था। इसलिए पहला मौका मिलते ही मैंने इथियोपिया आने का निश्चय कर लिया। फ्रेंड्स, ये विजिट अगर नॉर्मल डिप्लोमेटिक तौर तरीके से होती तो शायद बहुत समय लग जाता, लेकिन आप लोगों का यही प्यार और अपनापन मुझे सिर्फ 24 ही दिन में यहां खींच के ले आया। फ्रेंड्स, आज जब पूरे विश्व की नजर ग्लोबल साउथ पर है, ऐसे में इथियोपिया की स्वाभिमान, स्वतंत्रता और आत्मगौरव की चिरकालीन परंपरा हम सभी के लिए सशक्त प्रेरणा है। ये सौभाग्य की बात है कि इस महत्वपूर्ण कालखंड में इथियोपिया की बागडोर डॉक्टर अबी के कुशल हाथों में है। अपने मेडेमर की सोच और विकास के संकल्प के साथ वे जिस तरह से इथियोपिया को प्रगति पथ पर आगे ले जा रहे हैं, वह पूरे विश्व के लिए एक उज्जवल उदाहरण है। पर्यावरण संरक्षण हो, इंक्लूसिव डेवलपमेंट हो, या फिर विविधता भरे समाज में एकता बढ़ाना, उनके प्रयास, प्रयत्नों और प्रतिबद्धता की मैं हृदय से सराहना करता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, भारत में हमारा मानना रहा है कि सा विद्याया विमुक्तये, यानी नॉलेज लिबरेट्स। शिक्षा किसी भी राष्ट्र की आधारशिला है और मुझे गर्व है कि इथियोपिया और भारत के संबंधों में सबसे बड़ा योगदान हमारे शिक्षकों का रहा है। इथियोपिया की महान संस्कृति ने इन्हें यहां आकर्षित किया और उन्हें यहां के कई पीढ़ियों को तैयार करने का सौभाग्य मिला। आज भी कई इंडियन फैकल्टी मेंबर्स इथियोपियन यूनिवर्सिटीज और हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस में अपनी सेवाएं दे रहे हैं। फ्रेंड्स, भविष्य उन्हीं पार्टनरशिप का होता है जो विजन और भरोसे पर आधारित हो। हम इथियोपिया के साथ मिलकर ऐसे सहयोग को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध हैं जो बदलती वैश्विक चुनौतियों का समाधान भी करे और नई संभावनाओं का निर्माण भी करे। एक बार फिर इथियोपिया के सभी सम्मानित लोगों को 140 करोड़ भारतीय नागरिकों की ओर से बहुत सारी शुभकामनाएं। थैंक यू। आम सागनालो।
We were listening once again to Prime Minister giving his speech after receiving the highest civilian award, the Great Honor Nishan of Ethiopia, which is the 28th time that he has received the highest award of any country. Now, the Prime Minister, of course, has received it, he said, in the name of all Indians. He also spoke about various unheralded Indians who have, helped this relationship develop. He talked about, whether they were Gujarati traders who went there and participated in the 1896, and then various other aspects. But we'll dwell on what the Prime Minister said with our guests, Dr. I beg your pardon, Professor Ramakant Dwivedi and Ambassador Rajshekhar continue to be with us. Ambassador Rajshekhar, you were actually speaking, and we cut you once again just to go back to those visuals. So you could put that into context, the importance of this honor, first of all, and whether it is, going to add new dynamism not only to the relationship between India and Ethiopia, but the whole India-Africa relationship.
Yes, thank you. In fact, this visit comes as a major landmark in the development of relations between India and Ethiopia, and also through Ethiopia towards the larger African continent. In terms of symbolism, we have seen that the Prime Minister was personally received by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali himself, driving the Prime Minister to the place of his residence, and also on the way he has personally escorted visit to Science Museum and Friendship Park, and also showed the coffee ceremony. That shows the kind of personal rapport that has been. And Prime Minister very warmly recalled their interaction a month ago in South Africa when the G20 summit was there, and he recalled that Prime Minister Ahmed Ali had very warmly invited our Prime Minister to visit, and it was so compelling that within 24 days, in the words of Prime Minister himself, that this visit is happening. And in terms of the chronology, this is the visit of Prime Minister of India since 2011 and the first visit of Prime Minister Modi. But the personal rapport is something that I would like to highlight. And also, when we try to bring two countries together, we work through different facets, different domains. But the ultimate purpose is to build trust. That Prime Minister said that our relations are based on vision and trust-based partnership. And not only we intend to strengthen the existing areas of cooperation, but also would like to explore new areas. The bilateral trade now stands at $550 million two-way trade, and India exports mostly almost $470 plus million of Indian exports, largely based on the strength of pharmaceuticals, chemicals, and machinery. And we import barely $70-80 million worth of pulses, beans, and other products. So there is great scope for it to further grow, although India is already the second largest economic partner for Ethiopia. And based on our decades-long association, education has emerged as a major area of collaboration. Ethiopians look at India as a source of their teachers because for decades, Indian teachers have been rendering human service. And today, when we turn around, there are a large number of Ethiopians who had studied in India through ICCR scholarships and ITech training programs. I had the privilege of serving as the Director General of ICCR, and when we had instituted ICCR award, we naturally selected the Ethiopian Education Minister, who was also a recipient of the first ICCR award, to symbolize the long tradition of collaboration. And also when we had offered the Pan-Africa e-network that was suggested by President Kalam, Ethiopia has availed it in a big way.
Indeed. Right. Professor Ramakant Dwivedi, if we can come to you. Before we talk about the key takeaways of the visit so far, just to build upon what Ambassador Rajshekhar said, the extraordinary warmth and rapport between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia. Prime Minister in his address referring to his counterpart as a friend and brother, and both leaders acknowledging that what is really underway is not just any ordinary diplomacy, but a greater convergence of vision.
Thank you. Good evening to you and the fellow panelists. I think the environment is very positive. And if we decode the Prime Minister's speech after he received the honor, you see the instrument of faith and reliability which he has been underlining is very much there between the two countries. But this visit reflects India's growing focus on Africa as a strategic partner rather than merely a development partner. As you know, Ethiopia is one of the oldest civilizations in Africa and also a diplomatic hub, being the headquarters of the African Union. So it's very important. At bilateral level, already Ambassador Rajshekhar has underlined that the attempt is to enhance economic engagement, whether it is educations or other areas, especially in the digital technologies. But I think both the countries would like to contribute as a partner in addressing the issues which are being faced by the global South, whether at the bilateral level or multilateral forum like G20. And there we see this partnership is extremely important to enhance the developments to address the issues which are being faced today in the global south.
Professor Dwivedi, also if we look at the leadership itself, the Prime Minister praised Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Now, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is in his second term, and even earlier, he's quite a young man. Before that, he was also the Science and Technology Minister in Ethiopia. He's brought in a lot of change, and he's revived the economy. The economy is one of the fastest growing economies in the world currently, at about 10% growth. GDP is what Ethiopia is. It's getting in a lot of investment from India. 615 companies, Indian origin companies, are working in Ethiopia. And he's keen. I mean, in his statement, he said data centers, clean energy. He's looking at the youngsters moving from Addis Ababa to Bangalore. This is the kind of thing, the vision that he has. He's got vibrancy, and Prime Minister also, is bringing a lot of energy to the relationship. What do you think is the potential to take, the people-to-people contacts to drive enterprise, let's say startups, moving this relationship forward?
That's very important. Capacity building, the innovation, digital public infrastructure, healthcare, educations. I think these are the areas which has huge potential for the bilateral, enhancing the bilateral engagement between Addis Ababa and New Delhi. And that is what the Prime Minister has already emphasized. And I'm sure that today and tomorrow we are going to see the tangible outcome coming of these deliberations. And this, absolutely, you rightly said, there's a huge potential.
Ambassador Rajshekhar, when partnership expands, from your rich diplomatic experience, when partnership expands from development and economic exchanges to strategic partnership, what does it imply for a layperson to understand? How does it indicate a sort of greater role for India and Ethiopia, not just at the bilateral level, but greater regional and global geopolitics?
Yes, today the two leaders had elevated the historical relations, which go back more than 100 years, to strategic partnership. That is the words they had used, meaning that both countries acknowledge that the other country holds great significance in advancing their national interest and development. Today, Ethiopia is at the cusp of rapid economic growth and development. Prime Minister appreciated that the Prime Minister of Ethiopia has succeeded largely in forging consensus and ushering in economic reforms, which have helped Ethiopia to grow at 10% annual economic growth. This opens up a lot of opportunities for Indian businesses, especially in the areas of renewable energy, because Ethiopia has great potential for hydropower. And also, India has been supporting Ethiopia's interest in promotion of solar power through International Solar Alliance initiatives like the setting up of the solar Technology Application Resource Center in the Addis Ababa University, and also another initiative of solar rooftop grid, which is a new useful initiative in the context of Ethiopian interest in clean energy. And also Ethiopia holds great potential in mining as we seek to have rare earths and critical minerals in our own search for our solar power batteries, charging batteries, and semiconductors and other areas. So based on the great trust and admiration that we have towards each other at people-to-people level, thanks to the tradition of education and personal rapport of the Prime Ministers, we can look forward to great, rapid development and expansion of the two relations between two countries. In terms of investment, because of the tradition of technical and economic cooperation, I think we have given substantial concessional aid to Ethiopia of about $700 million, which has facilitated Indian investment of about 4 billion US dollars. So, in the minds of common Ethiopians, the image that, and when you say India, that conjures up is that India is a source of education. As Prime Minister said, education is something that liberates. And the second thing is that India is a source of economic development. Incidentally, the name of the political party that Prime Minister of Ethiopia leads is called Prosperity Party. That shows that Ethiopians are very keen on catching up in terms of economic developments, just as we intend to do. Ethiopian Prime Minister has acknowledged Indian efforts under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi of Atmanirbhar, self-reliance and South-South cooperation. Said these directly speak to us in Ethiopia. So overall, there is great potential and opportunity for all-round development and also including defense. If you have opportunity, I can further elaborate.
So, Professor Dwivedi, so it's clear that there is so much convergence and that's why the relationship has been taken to the strategic level. But when we look at strategic, the layman thinks that this is more, strategy, defense. We are out to, deal with issues of conflict, things like that. How would you view that also? Because, we are countries that are looking for peace. I mean, one can say that because after all, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia is actually a Nobel Peace Prize winner. So we are both countries that seek peace. But unfortunately, in neighborhoods that are quite surrounded by conflict and not quite decent.
Therefore, the partnership between New Delhi and Addis Ababa becomes extremely important for the regional peace and stability and regional development. And the role of democratic governance, which is very important in addressing these issues. And I'm sure that the question raised earlier, what is the difference between the mere bilateral partnership and the strategic partnership? In the strategic partnership, we becomes more sensitive to each other interest and stakes, not only at bilateral level, but multilateral level, regional level, and international level. And we try to complement each other in enhancing partnership, development, peace, prosperity, stability.
And also, Professor Dwivedi, being an educator yourself, what do you make of the great emphasis that is put on knowledge and education by both the leaders? Traditionally, the kind of role that Indian teachers have played in Ethiopia and the kind of opportunities that now open up for exchange on that platform.
It's very important. We recognize the role of diaspora, the role of education in public diplomacy, in cultural exchange, in people-to-people exchange. Because by exporting, by imparting educations, you are building a Indian-friendly generations. So that's an important aspect of this bilateral relationship with Ethiopia.
Also, Ambassador Rajshekhar, now that the relationship has been raised or elevated to the level of a strategic partnership, to what extent does that, increase India's participation in, let's say, the African Union? After all, it's headquartered in Addis Ababa. Our ambassador to Ethiopia is also our ambassador to the African Union. We have this kind of regional, or let's say, well, I mean, it is global also to that extent. It's a geopolitical equation also that comes to play when we are talking about a strategic partnership with the whole of Africa.
Ethiopia and Africa are both particularly appreciative that during our presidency of the G20 2 years ago, that we had ensured that African Union is a permanent invitee and member. So this is, a big step forward in including Africa, which has great potential in propelling global economic development. And as we look forward to hosting BRICS Summit, where last year Ethiopia has joined, there also Ethiopians look up to India. And African Union being in Ethiopia and our excellent bilateral relations bode well as we seek to expand India's historic relations with Africa. And today we had signed three memorandum of agreements, importantly. First one is customs cooperation. Second one is a data center in Ethiopian mission. And third one is cooperation in UN peacekeeping. And there are a few areas that we need to further focus and address. We need to revise and strengthen double taxation avoidance agreement and also bilateral trade and investment agreement. And one problem that Indian business community has been facing is of availability, access to foreign exchange. It is somewhat like Indian situation some time ago, where foreign exchange was in short supply. And in that context also, Ethiopia greatly looks forward to Indian investment. One more area of potential is that defense cooperation. We have a long tradition where India has assisted Ethiopia in setting up its military academy and trained their personnel. And now there is also potential as the quality of defense production, defense supplies, we can emerge as a major defense supplier for Ethiopia.
Also, Ambassador Rajshekhar, one of the agreements that you mentioned, MOU for establishing data center, I understand it relates to the larger ecosystem of digital future and emerging technologies. Is it also becoming this sort of new yardstick of international engagement and cooperation? And India in particular holds special strengths in this area with digital public infrastructure, the kind of investments that are happening in emerging technologies in India. Those strengths can now be shared with Ethiopia.
Indeed, as our late leader, Mr. Pramod Mahajan said, IT has come to stand for not only information technology, but Indian technology, because Africans especially look up to India as an IT power. They want to learn so many things, especially what we had done in terms of digital infrastructure. And the large number of, in fact, Ethiopians constitute the largest number of PhD scholars in India. And the presidents and vice presidents of the universities, they all would like to see that cooperation between the two countries especially takes place in the area of IT and digital collaboration.
Professor Dwivedi, I mean, this visit also, to what extent does it reinforce the position that India, is emerged as perhaps the leader of the global South? And of course, India will be leading BRICS next year. So that puts it in a position also to drive the agenda of the global South once again after it did so at G20.
India wants to be partner in stabilizing situation in various parts of the world. India wants to be partner in the development, and India wants to engage globally. This visits indicate clearly that now in the global South, you will see qualitatively the enhanced role of India along with the like-minded members of global South for addressing the challenges and the struggles which are there in the global South, whether they are infrastructure development related, whether there are conflict zones, or whether there's in education related. So you see the enhanced role of India at the global engagement.
On that note, Professor Ramakant Dwivedi, Ambassador C. Rajshekhar, many thanks to you for joining us in this special program and sharing your insights and perspective with us.
Indeed, and on that note, we conclude today's coverage of the Prime Minister's visit to Ethiopia, but we'll be back once again tomorrow. The Prime Minister will be addressing a joint session of the Ethiopian Parliament. That's an important address that he will be making. And after that, he will also be visiting Oman later in the day.
Final leg of the three-nation visit, but that's all for now. We'll take your leave. Namaskar.
for sustainability to become more than just a statement. It needs to be practical and seamlessly fit into our lives.
If we are thinking about a net zero economy. And obviously, automobile sector is at the center of this transformation. Instead of buying new vehicle, if I can retrofit and upgrade my existing vehicle, environmentally speaking, it is superior.
Zero waste means repair, reuse, analyze.
We realized that if women became involved in decision making and generated income, the whole family would benefit. Before, we needed a lot of manpower to handle the waste. But now, with the conveyor belt,
it converts the waste into electricity, powering 2 farms.
A confluence of spirituality, knowledge, and culture. The progenitor of democracy, Bihar holds a special place in India's history. Treasure the journey of enlightenment. Travel the holy circuit trails of multiple faiths. Experience the legacy of ancient India. And an educational lineage that produced some of the greatest luminaries of the time. Discover a multitude of art and craft forms. Savor the true flavors of the land and enjoy the sights and sounds of iconic festivals. Delve deeper